and call the regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, also sitting as special taxing district, February 5th, 2024, 9 a.m. Board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic conferencing. We're all here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or rescheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Desiree, do we have any?
This morning we did receive one email. It's from Juan Reyes, and the subject is Aloe unapproved prices. He says, Yuma County Attorney Smith and Board of Supervisors, attached you will find signatures of us, the people of Yuma County, requesting an investigation into the company Aloe, changing their invoice and charging the community unapproved prices. This is not right. You are to look out for the community and the taxpayers that help make Yuma County, not look out for big companies.
Thank you. I do have some speaker forms. I'll call out your name, and I do see some of them are for a agenda item. If you don't want to stay till that agenda item, you can do it during call to the public. If not, when we open, I'll open the item and I'll let you speak. We have Gail Castricone.
Good morning. My name is Gail Castricone. I am the neighborhood advocate for the Avenue B and C Colonia project. Update on the band trailer park. Last Tuesday, there were several police and deputies on the band trailer park throughout the day. It is concerning to me, and it should also be concerning to you, that YPD and the Sheriff's Department has had to spend so much time at the band trailer park when their assistance is needed in so many other places in Yuma County. This cycle of violent crime at the band trailer park will continue and escalate until the park is shut down. I was told that there are more, more squatters in the band trailer park than residents. This makes band park even more dangerous. In 2021, Pat Hennington from DDS put up 28 uninhabitable signs on 28 trailers. For some reason, the junk trailers were not required to be removed. To date, all of the signs have been taken off of the trailers. Why was Band Park not sent to the hearing officer until 2022? The trailer park was completely out of compliance. At least we may have had a court date by now. The Avenue B and C Neighborhood Improvement Meeting will begin on February 6th and will continue to meet on the first Tuesday of each month. We're very excited about the goals for 2024. We are looking forward to hearing from Michelle with Yuma County Grants. She will discuss the rehabilitation program aimed at assisting the Colonia. One of our butterfly projects this year is to acknowledge our neighbors that have kept their homes and yards in good condition. The community will pick one house each month. We will invite the homeowner to our monthly meetings to receive a plant $25 gift card and an ornamental butterfly for their front yard. In closing, I would like to thank the Board of Supervisors and the staff for supporting our Avenue B and C Colonia efforts to make our precious families feel safe and proud of the neighborhood that they live in. In closing, I would like to read Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary in well-doing, but in due season we will reap a harvest. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Gail.
You're
We'll-
welcome.
We'll get there. Thank you. Mary Ann, you want to speak on the item when I open it up, or?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. So when do you want to speak right now, or
Whatever you want.
it's up to you if you want to leave early, or?
Okay. I'm talking about the address at 13205 East 43rd Street in Yuma County, Arizona. It's right down the street from me. And the little boys, they have little boys that run around naked. They've come to my house. I've had to take the little boys and chase them around my house, clean them up. Their father or whoever he is out there in their yard. It's like 2 houses down from me, welding with sparks flying everywhere. The children are in the way. The sparks are going. The children are running around naked. And it's just a dangerous situation. The house is filthy. The yard is filthy. It's on the corner of Dorothy and 43rd Street. And that's all I have to say. We cannot take it any longer. All of us neighbors are tired of it. We've called social services many times. Social services has come to my house. I've showed them pictures of, I call them Diaper Boy. That's just what I call him. And he's almost fallen. Foothills Utilities has been working on redoing their infrastructure. He fell down in the hole in front of my house by my mailbox. So I had to get him out of the hole. The children, they just run all over the neighborhood with no clothes on. It's just dangerous. And their house on that street, that 13205 East 43rd Street, is filthy. They've got trash everywhere. Their dog got killed. That little dog. And it's just terrible for the children. It's just dangerous and it's terrible. And that's all I have to say.
We'll pass it on to the authorities and see what they can resolve.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just so people know what she's referring to, this item's up for abatement on the agenda today. So just to let everybody know
Okay.
what she's discussing too.
Joanne Borg, you want to speak right now, or
Yes.
when? Okay.
It's concerning the same address. I have here a petition of the neighbors, more than 44 of them have signed it, concerning this piece of property. Right now, they've started to kind of clean up. The only area that doesn't, where you can see the ground is where they drive their car in. It used to be we couldn't see the fence around the house from the street of all the junk, garbage, old car bodies, cars up on their axles. That part, I think, has finally been cleaned up because it was so dangerous for us trying to turn onto Dorothy or just go across Dorothy from 43rd Street. Now inside, because all of the stuff went from the street over the fence. And as I say, you can only see where they drive their car in and their gate swings open. They have children, as Marianne had addressed. However, the welding, it's the smell, it's the dumping of oil and who knows what from these cars. It's the open fires. We've called the fire department, we've called CPS, we've called everybody. And fortunately, zoning has taken an interest in it and has brought it to you. This has been going on for now probably 3 or 4 years or more, but it had come to a head. Like I said, 44 neighbors have signed this petition. It's been given to the zoning people, and along with different pictures of what we have. People are concerned for their property next door. The neighbor upped her fence by 4 feet just so she didn't have to see it. People have complained about the lights they put out at night so he can work. I think he's running some kind of business there. She addressed, Marianne addressed the welding that's going on there. But the real concern is the garbage and the junk that is in this place. Drive by sometime. All we have to do when people come to visit, they'll say, what is that on the corner? And what we say is, it's a problem, and we've been trying to address it. And I'm glad to see that you have it on your agenda, and I hope action is taken, that we can finally get something done and cleaned up. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Dwayne Ramsey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to thank Mr. Scott and Supervisor Pancrazy for the invite, and for Mr. Scott, he's been helping me with this issue directly. August of 2023, I live on County 17th west of B. The area has a small plot of agricultural land that is surrounded by ranchettes or suburban rural zoning. This agricultural land is idle, or was idle, just flat dirt, but still zoned as agriculture. In August of 2023, dump trucks started showing up. Dump trucks from 6 a.m. till about 8 p.m., dumping dirt. Had no idea what was going on, inquired to the gentleman who was in charge of running things there, and he said they were planning on making a nursery that grows trees for the state and federal government for reclamation projects. I let it go, which was a mistake. Over the course of several months, there's now more than 12 to 15,000 cubic yards of dirt piled on this agricultural land. Decided to find out where the dirt was coming from. Followed the dump trucks back over to Avenue A, to the county's stormwater retention project. And they had dug that dirt from there. Meridian, your contractor doing the job, contracted with this gentleman to run rented dump trucks to bring the dirt out and dump it on agricultural land. I'd like to submit a flyer to you each about what this dirt is and pictures of what this property now looks like that's being claimed by the new owner as agricultural use. May I do that?
Yes.
The EPA says
Thank you.
that that dirt has a product in it called 6-PPDQ, and it comes from rubber preservatives that come off of tires and stormwater runoff, and that product does not go away. It is called a PFAS. It is a chemical that does not go away. And I'm presuming, I haven't done the test, but I've been asked to find out myself from the Planning and Zoning Department if this chemical's in this dirt, when in reality, it's there. That retention basin that this dirt was dug out of has been there for more than 60 years, retaining stormwater runoff from the city of Yuma. In that mix is asphalt particles. In the asphalt particles is this 6-PPDQ. The EPA says it's hazardous, highly hazardous and toxic to both animals and wildlife and to humans. Information is in the flyer. They've left the dirt there. I have the county's support in trying to get a special use permit violation because now they're grading the dirt. Your contractor, Meridian, came out with bulldozers and loaders and has tried to level the dirt off, although unsuccessfully. They have made every attempt to try to hide what's being dumped there. In the meantime, they have decided to make a mulching and composting outfit in the front of the property to hide what they're doing behind it. And they've built up a 12 to 15-foot berm around the property with this dirt to hide the dumping, illegal dumping of greens trash. I'd like to submit pictures of this property to your chairman, and you may pass them around to show you what they've done. Accordingly, I don't think the planning and zoning department had any idea the dirt was going there because they were as surprised as anyone was that I came and complained about it. So I don't know whether Meridian had any rightful say in where the dirt was going, but I did get support from Craig Sellers and Mr. Scott and some others at the planning and zoning to try to get to the bottom of this. I'm simply making you aware of this. The dirt that's been dumped on that agricultural land is highly toxic. Airborne, it becomes toxic to humans. The vehicles that are driving in and out of that property create the dust that's carrying that compound in the air. The properties surrounding that agricultural land were all residential, all small ranchettes, suburban ranchettes, zoned accordingly. And they moved this in on us. I would appreciate your attention to it. And if there's any questions about it, I'd be happy to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey, and we're aware that the county's already on it, so thank you. Anybody else from the public that wishes to address the board? I'll go ahead and leave the call to the public open, and we'll go ahead and move on to presentations, proclamations, and appointments. Any appointments? Move on to item number 1, presentation, public service announcement regarding technology addiction by Cibola High School students participating in the Health Occupational Students of America competition. Welcome.
Good morning, Chairman Porches and members of the board. My name is Isa Taidinko.
And my name is Emily Espinosa.
And we are students of Cibola High School. We are here to give a public service announcement about technology addiction. Oh, sorry. I'm sure many of you had a similar encounter, especially with the growing numbers of technology addiction. In case you are unaware of this addiction, let me and my partner explain to you.
So let's start off with the definition of addiction. Addiction is feeling the need to always have something with you at all times. This is a habit that one can't control easily. A common and relatable example is waking up in the morning and eating straight to the coffee pot. Feeling the need to drink coffee every morning is known as coffee addiction. So what is technology addiction? Technology addiction is quite similar, but in this case, instead of coffee, it's feeling the need to always have a technical device with you.
This addiction is often overlooked because it can't be mentally diagnosed, but it can later lead to mental issues like depression, increased anxiety, stress, sleep deprivation, and lack of self-confidence. There are so many other problems caused by this addiction that my partner will explain.
Since you're looking at a screen that contains blue lights for long periods of time, this could cause various eye problems. This is because the UV light of the screen hits the retina. What is the retina? Well, the retina is a light-sensitive tissue that's in the back of your eye that creates the images in our head. So, because of the retina, it's things for the images that you see in your head. So what happens if this is affected? If this is affected, then it could lead to having cataracts, cancer, eye strains, and various eye problems. All of these can occur to anyone, but it affects children more quicker than it does to adults.
Luckily, since this is an addiction, there are ways to deal with it, like setting time limits on your phone, whether it's an app you know you struggle with, or just your phone altogether. You can also tell yourself not to have your phone at the dinner table and limit yourself when you're with friends and family. These might seem like minor changes that won't really affect you, but you'll soon see a positive outlook on your daily activities.
Since you have time without your phone, you can observe and become more aware of the world around you. With this advantage, you will be able to try opportunities that you once put aside. These opportunities can be as simple as making new friends, trying physical activities, engaging in new hobbies, and conversing with people in person. The best thing from this is that your mood can be boosted. But not only is your mood boosted, but studies have shown that anxiety, stress, and your lack of self confidence is improved. All of this can be accomplished by setting your phone down for a moment.
Now, you may be wondering, how can I even spot this addiction in me or others? Well, in yourself, you may have no motivation, lack of social life, excessive hours on any type of screen, losing track of time, whether it's on a website, an app, or a game. In others, you might realize that they don't really want to hang out as much. They might be irritable when you try to talk to them and they're on their phone, or they're just always on some sort of device.
Now that you've gotten a glimpse of the dangers of this addiction, we hope that you're trying to find ways to impede this growing worldwide addiction.
We thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, I just have a comment, probably. And my daughter's addicted.
Take this, please.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take the public service announcement, deal with it.
Thank you. That was a lot of information. Thank you. Very
Yes,
important.
you did very, very well.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Item number 2, Public Works. Informative presentation by the Department of Public Works on the details of road maintenance operations. Kelly?
Good morning, Mr.
Good
Chairman,
morning.
members of the board. I'm Kelly Fricky, Public Works Director, and I have with me here our Deputy Director, Santos Guerrero. And our focus here today is a crucial aspect of our responsibilities, road maintenance. The objective of this presentation is to give you an overview of our road maintenance operations. And Santos, he is our subject matter expert, as he has a 30-year tenure in our highway maintenance division. So he is very well equipped to give you an overview of our road maintenance operations. So I'm going to turn the podium over to Santos.
How many years, Santos?
Almost 30.
All right.
Good morning, Chairman Porteous, members of the board. Like Kelly said, we're going to give you a brief presentation of where we are here this past year. Let me get this clicker going here. So this slide here just basically showing what we did FY 22-23. We maintained over 1,200 miles of paved roads, to include patching and sweeping and other maintenance treatments at a cost of a little over $4.5 million, including equipment, labor, and materials. This next slide shows various treatments that we perform on a daily basis. As you can see, the top gravel road maintenance, patching, sweeping, those are things that we do every day on a daily basis. The rest of the stuff, crack seals, overlays, chip seals, and slurry seals are scheduled usually around spring and fall. Okay, so we have to work with the temperature to perform those treatments. This next slide shows average cost for all the tasks that we provide to the roads. Paved roads up there, sweeping cost, patching and service requests, average cost. We've seen significant increases in crack seal, slurry seal, overlays, and chip seal costs. Those have jumped up significantly in the past few years. And then the costs for unimproved gravel road maintenance. To cap a road with 3 inches of material or so, it's almost $20,000. Dust control is probably our cheapest treatment that we do. That's about $4,700 per mile to apply dust control. Okay. This next slide here is a slide that we pulled from a previous presentation. basically showing there's more than 1,800 miles within Yuma County. Of course, we only maintain about 900 or so of those miles. The rest of the roads are private. They can be right-of-ways, easements that aren't maintained. But there are some roads out there that, we've spoken of maybe adding additional roads to our maintenance system. So adding additional 10 miles or so, you're going to have to add some more crew members, and then an additional crew after every 40 miles or so of roads added. Same for paved roads after adding 10 miles or so initially, then another after 10 miles after that, additional crews of graders, patch trucks, haul trucks. That's for accepting new roads into our system. This is a breakdown of average annual maintenance costs for unpaved roads. We try to get out there and maintain these roads at least 4 times a year, 3-4 times a year. It costs about $2,100. If you add a load here and there, to fill in low spots or washouts or what have you, we pay about $4 a ton or so for aggregate under our current contract. So it would cost about $300 or so average. And then if you add that dust palliative to that mile of road, it's about $4,700. The next slide is just briefly touching on our service request portal. That's something that we take pride in. We gives the public an opportunity to reach out to our department and let us know of issues out there on the roadway. This is something that takes up a lot of our time. Of course, we have to address these issues that are brought up to us. So this service request, is monitored weekends, holidays. We have 3 on-call staff every day dedicated to on-call. We have one staff member out in East County and 2 staff members here in West County, one of those being for traffic signals and stuff. So we usually try to respond to the requester within 24 to 48 hours of our intent, and let them know that we're aware of the issue that they brought up. And on average, it takes about we try to complete our request within 7 days. That doesn't necessarily happen all the time. It depends on what kind of request it is. So, but we do our best to respond to the requester within 24 to 48 hours. So the past 3 years, 2020 to 2023, we received over 1,100 service requests. Average completion time of 4.5 days, almost 4.5 days. And 83% of all those requests completed within 7 days. This shows a breakdown of service requests where we get our most issues. Core road repair and maintenance is a big one, and that entails gravel road maintenance, repairs, storm issues, and then traffic signal maintenance is another big one. Tree trimming, sweeping. Okay. And then this slide shows the average completion time. Street sweeping routes, of course, take the longest. A lot of times that's because the guys are on a route. So the supervisor will reach out to the resident and let them know, hey, the guys will be there within a week or within 3 or 4 days before they can get to your request. So that's the one that takes the longest to complete. But sidewalk repairs also, you got to call in Blue Stake for repairs like that. So that takes a little longer. But of course, if it's an emergency, we try to get out there right away and address the situation right away.
Flood damage. Have we had a lot, I'm sorry, have we had a lot of flood damage this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, out in East County with the storms. So we seems like it's been never ending this year. These next couple slides are kind of show the breakdown of what we're trying to get at also here in this presentation. July through September these are our normal operations. This is our busy time of the year when we're doing all our paving and stuff. On average, we're paving anywhere between 25 to 30 miles of roadway. So it takes, these 3 months, it's crunch time to try to get all this done. But if you can see on the far right over here, paving operation, on average mile takes about 18 employees. That includes the operation of the paver, rollers, our oil distributor truck, dump trucks, crews on the ground. So if you add all these together, it shows we need about 35 employees to maintain normal operations through these summer months.
How many do you have?
Currently, we're sitting right at 30.
Okay.
Fully staffed, we're at 31. So, but, on average, I think we have vacancies, an average of 8 to 10 vacancies a year. So vacancies have been an issue. We're hoping to rectify that here soon. This shows our operations October through June, basically fall to spring when we're not paving. We're busy prepping for those big paving projects and chip seal projects. So we're doing a lot of crack seal. We got crack seal crews going, 8 to 10 employees per crack seal. Again, if you add these up, it's about 35 employees that we need for normal operations in the wintertime. And then this shows our last slide here, which is right now we currently staff 30. Fully staffed should be 31. We're one position short right now. Summer season need 35. Winter season we need 35. So you guys, hopefully you'll see that budget time is coming up here, and we are putting in to hopefully add additional staff so we can provide the service that we want for the public. And that concludes a quick presentation. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Okay.
I have a question. Do you have like a reserve account or reserve amount or emergency amount for, we've been having a lot of storms lately, and I know that some of the pictures you showed were roads being washed off, which is probably one of the biggest problems when it rains out here.
Yeah,
so those are county roads and they're out.
So we do have a contingency this year. We work with engineering, Frank Sanchez is over in engineering, and there was that extra ARPA funding. So Frank was gracious enough to keep the ARPA funding so he can deal with all the contracts and stuff associated with that, and he transferred some of the HERF funding that he gave to us. So we had we just moved about $4 million out of contingency into the road maintenance. Of course, that money was already accounted for some of the big major projects that we had, but we still have a $1.6 million contract left for this year for chip seal, and another, I believe, $1.2 million that you guys are getting ready to approve here for slurry seal. So, but yeah, that's stuff that's unaccounted. It's hard to account for these storms. And, they had that Gila River release to start it off, and then we've had 3 big storms, one on Labor Day, one just recently, the Christmas storm, that we lost half those crossings 2 times. Yeah. So we've been putting in river crossings, seems like half the year. I was just speaking with Aaron that we might get another release this spring with all this rain we're getting now. So, we might be working with river crossings.
I think it's going to become a matter of almost routine that we need to update our costs and, our budget factors to reflect the fact that.
So we went 10 years without that Gila River flowing. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it runs 3 times and washes all the crossings out. So those are costs that we weren't expecting. But we do our best.
Well, the question had more to do with whether we were prepared to do that, and I think the answer is yes, we were prepared to do it. Yeah. And now the issue is going to be whether we're prepared all the time, because that ARPA money is probably going to be gone pretty soon. So we need to start looking at the county itself being prepared for this kind of thing.
Yeah, we should always have some set aside contingency for those matters, and there is some there, but when you expect it once, but you don't really expect it 3 times in 1 year. But
the year's not over yet.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Mr. Chair, Santos, do you guys have, on those crossings, do you have those big pipes that go under the road so that the water goes through? And this is,
Yeah, but they only accept so much water.
Yeah.
You know, so in order to keep those pipes in place, when we get these big runs from the Gila River, we'll cut the road out to keep those pipes here so they don't wash out.
oh, got it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they don't accept that much water.
Because they don't accept enough water. Yeah. Okay.
You know, and I've heard people mention, you know, we should put culverts and all this stuff, and the majority of those roads that have those low flow crossings, they're all gravel roads, except Avenue 36E by the high school there. That might be something we need to look at putting a culvert there in the future.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to compliment Santos and Kelly and all of Public Works. Like I said, the job they do. I drive them nuts sometimes, I think, but because I got a lot of roads and a lot of crossings, and they have done an excellent job at getting those crossings back in and running, especially this time of year with all the harvesting going on. Having those crossings sure saves a lot of gas, a lot of time when they're trying to get the crops in out of the field. So keep up the good work, and thanks for putting up with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We now know what district to charge more than.
We're not going there, but
Hey, I got the most ag too, so remember that.
Thank you, guys.
Santos, I just want to make a comment. You know, a lot of the questions that I get, and I think the majority of us is, from the public is, why do they have to do certain work at certain time of year, you know? Maybe in the future, or like for the, what's it called, channel for our 77, yeah, or for the mix, we can maybe explain or talk, you know, why sometimes you have to do certain things at a certain time, and just more put it out, you know, public awareness kind of.
And it always seems like it's a busy time of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
That's something we can do definitely. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 3. Yes.
You raised your hand.
Oh. If you want to.
You have to get up
You
there.
gotta get up and state your name and address.
Hi, my name's Mariana Replogle. Being the proud daughter of an engineering geologist, it's not dirt, it's soil. That's all I wanted to say.
Craig? Okay. Morning.
Chairman, members of the board, Craig Sellers, Director of Development Services. And in my past, I was involved in geology as well, so I can understand the irritation.
that's throwing shade right there.
So I appreciate your time today to give an overview of some of the things that we do at Development Services. I know how PowerPoints are enjoyed, so I will be as brief as I can. Who we are, Development Services currently has 31 positions. Of those positions, we currently have 6 vacancies. We're in the process of promoting 2 additional of our employees, and then we'll be backfilling behind those positions as well. Our divisions include planning and zoning, which looks at the compatibility and the uses on property. We are base those off of the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance that have been adopted by the board. And we carry that out through the different permits and approvals that are done there. Property rights and compatibility. Obviously, permitting is a big portion of this. Permitting allows that people are moving forward in the way that they should be working. Board action are the things like special use permits that are set aside for the board to make those decisions. And then if we have people moving forward with things that we feel are contrary to the board, or not, I'm sorry, not contrary to the board, but contrary to the ordinances, we will cite them for an alleged violation, and that will get processed through hearing officer process. Building safety looks at health, safety, and welfare of construction, primarily residences and commercial projects. Environmental health looks, we have a delegation agreement with Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, and there are specific tasks that we perform for them underneath that delegation. Typically, our biggest area is dealing with septic systems and so forth. As you're aware, some of the major projects and issues we've been dealing with are land use and resources, water. Last year, we attended the Water Smart conference to look at what other communities in the state are utilizing. It is amazing to see the future demand that's going to be placed on water in Arizona. We had communities who are talking about the hundreds of square miles of development that they're planning on bringing online over the next several decades. Environmental quality, as you're aware, odors, biosolids, a variety of different things, solid waste, all of these things that are coming into Yuma County. We try to work with ADEQ to bring attention to those items as well. Both myself and my deputy director have testified for legislation on some of these issues. Community interests, we meet with the municipalities and also the state and federal agencies to discuss those issues as well. And we provide technical assistance to the board and other departments. Looking at the amount of permitting and processes that we do, our overall numbers are down and projected to be down a little bit this year. However, the one area where we are increasing is on commercial and custom home areas. Those areas have gone up tremendously on our applications, and those are our most time-consuming reviews to perform. And so as you look at number of applications, the last column represents the hard numbers through January. And so those will almost double by the end of the year from what we have here. So if you look in the parentheses at the number of the volume we're receiving per day and per month, we get 15 to 20 applications a day and are performing approximately 75 reviews a day. That works out to be about 10 per hour across our department. We issue approximately 12 per day and have about 70 inspections that we're performing a day. So we keep pretty busy throughout the process. In the end for that, you'll see that this year we're approaching about $100 million worth of work. The difference between this year and the previous years is the amount of large-scale solar projects. This year we have about 65 million. Previous years we've had 233 last year and 287 million the year before that. This gives you a per fiscal year valuation of permit volumes. This does not include the large-scale solar. The 3 last years that we talked about with the numbers on the solar, that is as much as the valuation of all the other construction projects that have occurred over this time span. Numbers of permits per fiscal year. This year we're projecting to have an average year about 2,700 permits issued this year. When you look at our response time, we have about 64% of our permits that are issued the following day. Within the first week, it jumps up to 76%, 2 weeks, 82%. Within the first month, it's approximately 90% of our permits are issued. And then the last 10% take beyond that 60-day. And this is not just our review time. This is from the date of submittal to the date of final release. So it's all their response time to us as well. I'm tracking it this way because I think we have a responsibility to communicate and help track what's happening with those permits. And some of the changes that we've been doing to help reduce the amount of time that overall time is, after a few weeks of sending out our review letters, we're sending reminder calls out to remind people that we have responded to their comments and we're waiting for them to submit. We did find one situation where it had come in and had gotten misplaced in their office. So we're happy to have that reminder. You'll notice the ones that are 90 to 100 days out, we're looking at these numbers and specifically and pulling up the applications and seeing if there's things that we can do to help the applicant understand what is being asked for and engage in conversations to see what we can do to get to compliance on those items. That's resulted in the last 2 months, we've dropped 9 long-term projects out of our system. And that may not seem like a lot, but right now we only have about 25 that fit in that over 3 month range. So we're pretty happy about that. We continue to meet with applications. We're going to be looking at seeing how we can expand that to some of our other divisions as well, and seeing what we can do to help people understand what's needed within that. Some of the other things that we're looking at are looking at the feasibility of an infill ordinance. This is a process that we're allowed to have an overlay over areas that we feel need to have economic development within them. But we need to see which areas and is that feasible for Yuma County before we recommend that. We're looking at the terms and conditions of our permitting so that there's a better understanding of when our guarantees apply. How long can you expect to have a permit within our organization, and what's expected of the applicant to meet those. A number of our commercial projects come in done by either an engineer or architect. We want to consider doing self-certification where they would identify on the plans which codes that they've been designed to, and that they certify that they've met those requirements. And if that's the case, that'd be something that we'd look for and say, you've done that work, we're not going to review these plans. They would just get approved. And so those are some of the things that we're working with, and just want to let you know what's happening.
Mr. Chair and Craig, have you been able to fully implement that computer permitting application system that you guys?
For the most part, we have. I don't like the portal, the community-facing portal. Our commercial applicants are fine with it, but the day-to-day users, it's a tough portal to do. I am taking this year to look at, are there ways to improve it, or are there other softwares out there to where we can look at what are the functionality, make sure that we're not falling behind that way. And if we see that the time is there for us to change softwares, we would, not for this budget cycle, but for the following one, make a proposal if we feel it's justified to change out software.
So our are builders getting their permits via the email? I mean, and email getting, getting it from your staff saying, yes, this has been approved, no, this hasn't been approved, you need to do this and this and this. Are they getting that back and forth via
Yes.
via
If
email
they,
and not?
if they apply electronically, it goes back and forth electronically.
If they don't apply electronically,
We stay on paper because it's in our system electronically, but we'll use email followed up by a mailed letter.
mailed letter.
There's still a mix. Each individual has a preference, and so there's still a mix. And so to go completely electronic, the time's not right yet.
For some applicants, it's, yeah. Okay.
Any other question for Craig?
Think-
Craig, I'd just like to make a comment. I think, being an elected official for so many years, and I've been with the city of Somerton and the county, and the most, I guess, I don't want to say complaints, but the people concerns, or they always talk about community development. If something's wrong, is they blame the whole county because of your department, or even in cities, is the same thing. Beside you, I guess your department deals more very directly with like one-on-ones with people when they go out and pull out permits and all that. Out of all of the other departments, which they do see people, but it's either the health department or if it's the courts, people know why they're there. I guess when they go to your department, I think some people, ordinance or codes are very, especially building codes, are very hard to understand to the regular person. So I think educating them when they want to pull out a permit or on something that they need help on, I think that's very important. And I think that's customer service. That goes huge, because when those things are explained to people, people are willing to, they want to comply, but they want that, that information put out right. I guess when someone puts a wall or right away tells them, no, you can't do it, that's when they get upset. They say, well, the county's worthless, they don't help, but it's because of, your department, that's where people really want that help. So I think, customer service, if your department needs training or whatever, I think we should do that, because out of all the most concerns, it's always comes from the community development department. And it's not only the county, that's with every city. It's honestly, that's what I hear. So just throwing that out there.
Mr. Chair, ma'am, Craig, do you have maybe a video on your website that says, here's how it works, or here's the process, and just like a little overview where somebody's getting ready to apply for permits, they could go to that little, it's like a YouTube on how to do it. You know how people go to YouTube, or they go to all those little websites where they learn how to fix their faucet, they learn how to change a doorknob, that kind of thing, where
We don't have a video for that. For using our electronic submittals, we have a handout that we have with screenshots, but I can see the value of having video for that.
yeah, that they would go to that first and just, say, this is the process, and this is how long it's going to take, probably, so that they're prepared ahead of time.
Torres?
Yeah, well, I haven't been here the longest. I can tell you right now that it's vast improvement from what it used to be.
Yeah.
To see 70, 80, 90% of the permits being decided in 90 days or 120 days, to me, it's a vast improvement over the past. The biggest complaint in the past was that they sent the permit to the county and they didn't hear from the county in 2 months, 3 months. Now, it's actually the opposite. I hear you respond back and then you have to wait for them to respond back to your response. So it is not an issue of having you guys delay any process. It's an issue of the customer having the right to speed it up or delay it as they see fit, which is a great advancement to me because most of the complaints come from people who actually complain that it takes too long. So if you turn back and say, well, it took a long time because you failed to respond to us, in time, that's a different story, I think, totally from what it used to be. It used to be people complained that they filed a permit and it was forgotten. I appreciate that immensely because I think that change in mentality is what drives customer service from the point that people would care to the point that people will comment on it. And the comments that I hear right now are that the county is fast. It is one of those situations where you're actually mandated to get it out quickly. And I think that's a credit to the supervisors as they are now and as they used to be. They changed that perception a lot. You're always going to have people complain. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. But I mean, avoiding that has been a task that has taken months, if not years, to get to. So I thank you very much and thank the department for the work they do. Thank you.
We still have some permits, as you saw from our chart, that are going out for an extended amount of time. But part of my monthly report that I put together, I check on those and make sure that I'm understanding why is this specific permit still in our system? And is there anything there that can be addressed with that? And so I can't say that we're still not going to have permits that are going to let go more than 3 months or 6 months. But I want to make sure that there's a reason why that's happening and that we're connecting with the applicant in those situations.
And making sure that the reason it's in us, right?
Go ahead. I just, like I said, I talked to Craig and Maggie and all of them quite a bit. And I know you guys are shorthanded and just totally inundated. And I appreciate the job all of you guys do over there at DDS, Frank, everybody. I mean, with what you got on your plate, you guys do an outstanding job. Just keep it up.
Thank you, Craig. Item number 4, presentation of the mix.
Welcome to a new episode of The Mix. I have some fun information for you today. We're going to be talking about a grant that's going to help us with water preservation in Yuma County. We're going to talk about new evidence management system here in Yuma County as well, and an exciting new program. And lastly, an exciting visit from the Secretary's office. We'll see you soon. Water preservation is extremely important in Yuma County, and the Grants Department was just awarded $1.5 million just to do that. Collaborating with Facilities Management, Sheriff's Office, Housing Department, and the Grants Division, the initiative aims to combat rising water expenditures and landscaping costs. Key components include hiring a consultant for a tailored water conservation plan, contracting a design firm for sustainable landscaping, collaborating with a licensed contractor for exercise conversion, and creating educational materials. The county anticipates a 60% reduction in water usage, saving 46 acre-feet annually. This grant highlights Yuma County's commitment to sustainability and community awareness. For more information, visit azwifa.gov. Yuma County leads evidence management within the judicial branch. embracing the Arizona Digital Evidence Portal and cloud-based storage, the county addresses challenges in retaining and disposing of evidence. With a focus on clear guidance for both traditional and electronic evidence, Yuma County pioneers directives facilitating automation integration. This practice approach aligns with the statewide mission to eliminate delays and reduce expenses, positioning Yuma County as a model for effective evidence management in the digital age. We were so happy to receive a special visit from Secretary of the State, Adrian Fontes. Fontes, ensuring readiness for the 2024 presidential election cycle, met with leaders from the Board of Supervisors, Recorders Elections, and Voter Services. During the visit, confidence was expressed in the team's ability to conduct a successful election, emphasizing discussions on election integrity and efficiency. Yuma County Health District launches a new and free community service application. This platform is offering a comprehensive archive of mental health resources. The user-friendly interface consolidates expert-rated videos, podcasts, apps, online programs, books, and articles, providing 24/7 confidential and anonymous access. What a great program. I hope you take advantage of this. Now we're going to go with Oscar at the Public Works Department and learn a little bit about the Fleet Services Management.
Thanks, Arlene. So I'm on site here at Yuma County Public Works to give you an exclusive look into fleet services and how they keep Yuma County moving. So let's go check it out, so buckle your seatbelt. Hey Rob, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Oscar.
Good
How are
to
you?
See you. I'm great, thank you.
You too.
Wow, this is such an incredible space. Can you please tell me a little bit about what fleet management does for Yuma County?
Sure. So fleet management, this is our shop here. We maintain all the county vehicles the departments use are in the fleet management program. We also are on a replacement schedule. So we purchase and acquire new vehicles when they're at the end of their life cycle. So the funds return back to the fleet management program to offset the costs to the departments.
So you guys could fix anything here?
Pretty much. We don't do engine overhauls and transmission rebuilds, but pretty much anything else that we're going to do the maintenance on. We focus mainly on doing preventative maintenance so that we don't have heavy repairs later on.
Wow, sounds like you're saving the county a lot of money.
Yeah, I think so. Bringing the Fleet Services program on relieve that burden from the individual departments of maintaining their vehicles.
Wow, Rob, that's all great stuff. But also, I heard that there's a new addition to the Fleet Management Department. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. There's the 2023 Chevy Bolt, 100% electric compact SUV. We're getting about 270 miles out of a charge on it, and it's really fun to drive.
Wow, well, let's turn it on and go for a spin.
It's ready for you, Oscar. It's running right now, and you can jump right in and take it for a spin.
Wow, sound of zero emissions. Wow, Rob, this is quite the vehicle. This is so exciting. But tell me, what are Yuma County's plans to integrate more of these vehicles into our fleet?
So currently we have this vehicle on a trial program. We're tracking costs and seeing how it relates to a traditional internal combustion vehicle. We have formed an electric vehicle committee, and we're researching and doing what looking at upgrading infrastructure and different things and exploiting those costs. We also have a F-150 Lightning on order that will be used here at Public Works to expand the trial.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Well, thank you. Let's take a spin.
Let's go.
All right.
Back to you, Arlene.
Thank you, Oscar. Now we're going to go see Carla with an exciting new award.
Thank you, Arlene. And everyone, welcome back to Kudos with Carla. You might notice I don't have a special guest with me today, and that is because we are talking about a new award, and this award is still receiving applications. Yuma County and court employees have the opportunity to win the Big Chairman's Cup. So this new award is taking applications, and all employees have the opportunity to submit amazing projects that they have worked on throughout 2023 for the opportunity to win the cup for the year. This will be a traveling cup that will go year to year in every department who applies and wins for this award. So what are the steps? First, there's a quick application. They will bring over this application in a Shark Tank style to the chairman and a committee and see who wins. The award will be in April at the Yuma County Employee of the Year. We can't wait to see who is the very first winner of the Yuma County Chairman's Cup. Back to you, Arlene.
What an amazing incentive. I hope everybody applies. And that's it for today. We'll see you on the next episode of The Mix.
Moving on to consent calendar, the following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. I have items 1 to 20 on the consent calendar. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about item number 6.
Item number 6.
And I'd like item number 5.
5? Okay. So is there a motion to approve items 1 to 20, excluding item 5 and 6?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve items 1 to 20, excluding 5 and 6. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. County Administration, Construction Management, authorize the construction projects director to sign contract with Electronic Security Concepts, LLC of Scottsdale, Arizona, utilizing Arizona State contract in the amount of $687,698 with 53 cents for the procurement, purchase, installation, and integration of all security, control, alarm, and monitoring systems in the new Yuma County Administration Service Building.
Dave?
Good morning.
Well, tell me what this all will include, instead of me asking if it includes this or this or this.
Sure, we're looking to, first off, I'm sorry, Chairman Portis, members of the board, Dave Hillen, Construction Projects Director. We're looking to, we researched implementing a turnkey security package for this project. And of course, we have specific guidelines and specifications that we require for the board to make sure it integrates with other systems already in place. So this particular package will include all of the access control systems, every exterior door and a large number of interior doors will be on our access control system. I believe the count is, I want to say around 200 different doors that'll be under this particular system, and this will again tie into the county-wide system. So they'll be able to be programmed remotely and monitored. It includes somewhere around 100 security cameras, exterior and interior cameras throughout the building. And it includes all of our panic alarm systems. So all of the front counter reception areas will have panic alarms, as well as some of the back of house additionally. And a small intercom system, which really just allows any public that needs to access the departments that don't have a front-facing component to be able to access somebody at that front desk of that department area.
Has this company been working with our safety people and our IT?
Yes, exactly. We do have experience working with this firm. They're one of few that offer that particular the products that we have, again, already in place in the county. So that relationship's important to us, as well as the equipment itself, the history of that.
Okay, so they are currently working together to put this together.
This at the health department and other facilities as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
The comment, this is all within the budget that we set out for this.
It is. It is. The budget breakdown that you saw last month included this.
Okay. Any other questions for Dave? Thank you, Dave. Is there a motion to approve item number 5 as presented?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 5 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, award and authorize the county administrator to sign a professional service contract for wireless infrastructure network service consulting and design to HDR Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $117,557 with 68 cents for the broadband middle mile project.
I suppose this is about the agricultural side.
Yes, sir.
The broadband mile, every time I hear that, I think of the other one, the one that connects everything. But this one is basically the one that we have a grant from the state to apply to the agricultural side, correct?
Towers.
Yes, sir.
The towers.
Off of our middle mile.
Off of our, yeah, I mean, everything is connected, but this isn't a broad mile actual construction, but it's just it's a process that is tied to it, but it's for agriculture.
It is.
That's it, I just wanted to make sure. And obviously you followed every procedure known to mankind to make sure that it's all in the open.
Yes, sir.
Right. No more questions? I'll make a motion, we approve the item as presented.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 6 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All you needed to ask us, is it ag? That's it?
Yeah, well, I know, but I wanna make sure, we do this out in the open and everybody knows.
Yeah, we always do. All right. And we're gonna need, Virginia Garcia, is she here? Can you come up to the dais?
Is there a plate?
Sí, aquí está.
Yeah, I got a chair.
I got a chair.
Ahí vas.
Okay, vete para acá poquito.
Okay.
¿Me hace favor de golpear al señor Fine?
I'm gonna go ahead and recess Yuma County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Yuma County Housing Board. Housing Governing Board, a consent calendar, the following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And I will entertain a motion to approve housing consent calendar, items 1 to 4.
You know, I just want to emphasize, before we go ahead and make a motion, how every year we get the same things. I mean, it's just a review of everything that it's already been reviewed by many countless times. So I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve consent items 1 to 4. I just wanted to make sure the new member understood that we don't take them lightly, that we just haven't, we do them every year. It's an update of a plan that already exists. It'd be very difficult to approve a plan that we hadn't seen before, but this one, we've seen it every year. So just an update of the resolutions, an update of everything that needs to be approved to move forward with the project in San Luis.
You want a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve consent items 1 to 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you. I'll go ahead and adjourn the Yuma County Housing Board and reconvene to the Yuma County Board of Supervisors regular session. Moving on to discussion and action items. The board will open each of the following items separately for discussion and action as appropriate. Item number 1, Human Resources. And this is, where's the? Okay.
This is setting out the budget authority to do all these plans, right?
And this item will be postponed pending finalization of the judicial pay plan and delivery of a final report from Public Sector Personnel Consultants, PSPC. So do we need a motion to
continue to the table?
To table it.
No, you can just take no action and it'll come back up.
Okay, so.
You don't want no action?
No, no.
We'll move on to number 2.
We'll move on to item number 2. Development Services, Fair Hearing Officer case number H023-0031 and H021-0113 to the county attorney for action in Superior Court to obtain an order of abatement for the property owned by Mary Hansen Cartiser, parcel number 728-13-355, located at 13205 East 43rd Street in Yuma County, Arizona. Morning.
Senior Deputy Zoning Inspector Carlos Gonzalez, here to present a request to refer the hearing officer cases HO 2331 and HO 21-113 to the County Attorney's Office for abatement. These cases involve one property has gone through the hearing officer process twice. Both times they have been found in violation. The cases have been closed and a sanction has been imposed. Mr. Chairman, do you wish for me to proceed with the full presentation?
We want to see the full presentation.
Is this the one that the lady was referring to?
Yes.
The one that everybody testified? I think we know enough about it to go ahead.
Very well.
Are we okay with not seeing it, or?
I'm okay.
I'm good. I'm gonna make the motion that, when we have to go to.
We don't have to
Very well,
see the
Mr.
full
Chairman. Thank you, sir.
presentation.
Thank you.
Do you have any
Any
pic-
questions, or?
Do you have any pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to see them.
Okay.
Please.
all right.
Sorry.
See the pictures.
The property was verified to be Mary Hansen Cartiser is the owner through the assessor's records. There's an area view on Dorothy Drive and 43rd Street. Again, this is the most recent case that was the storage of junk on the property. They were advised, they were served with a hearing of the notice, with a notice of the hearing and the hearing of the complaint through the constable. Again, it was 2 compliance hearings. These are the site conditions on December 5th, which was the last compliance hearing on the most recent case. As you can see, all the junk and the inoperable vehicles in the back, trash, boxes, tires, between the RV that's in the back and there's more miscellaneous items. This is the first case, 113 and 21. Again, it is the same complaint with storage of junk on the property. Again, they were served this by certified mail to Mary Hansen Cartiser. This one involved 3 compliance hearings after the initial hearing on the complaint. All 3 compliance hearings were found to be in violation February 3rd, March 3rd, May 5th, and the sanction imposed in the end on May 5th. These were the site conditions throughout that case. There's a couple of again, more trash and miscellaneous items. And they did clean up some of the junk here, but unfortunately, they just pushed it through the back over there. So I'm trying to keep it out of sight. These are the current site conditions as of January 10th. They did clean up, and they are in the process of cleaning up, but unfortunately, there is still a considerable amount of junk, tires, discarded mattresses, as you can see there.
Are there 2 people living on that one lot?
6, 7, we don't know, we can't figure it out.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, it's unknown how many
staff.
folks there are living in the sites, but they do have a recreational vehicle in the back that they are allowed to have 2 occupied dwellings in the RVS.
I remember that.
Mr. Chairman, is this owner occupied?
Excuse me, Mr.
Is this owner occupied?
Yes, yes, not a tenant, it's the owner occupied. And then more miscellaneous items in the back of the RV and the rear yard lot.
Mr. Chairman, I've been by there numerous times, and it fluctuates, because they'll start stacking it up along the street and the wall, and then somebody gets on, and then they throw it over the wall or whatever. It's been going on far too long.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we continue to receive complaints on the property.
What you're asking us to do is just move it out of the system here, put it in the court system?
Yes.
No one else?
Well, say, what you want us to do is refer this to the county attorney's office.
Yes, sir.
So they can be put into the legal system.
Yes, sir.
We're done with the niceties.
With the
of
hearing
trying to get
officer's
clean.
complaints, yes, they're not.
So they're, even if they get cited, they're not paying attention to the citation.
That's correct.
They don't bother attending the hearings or.
Not the compliance hearings. They initially attended the 2 first hearing on the complaint, and then they didn't attend any of the compliance hearings that they've had, which quite a few.
Seen enough pictures? You know, the pictures.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right.
I
Well,
wanted to
I'll
see
make a
what
motion
we
to
were
go ahead
abating.
and turn it over to the county attorney's office for abatement.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to refer case to the county attorney's office for abatement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the planning and zoning agenda, full legal description of property sites for all rezoning cases are available for public review at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors office. I'll go ahead and open the expedited rezoning. These items will be open as a group for public hearing and acted upon by one motion to adopt the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, except for any item that is removed by board members for separate consideration. That item will be discussed and acted upon separately following action on expedited items. And I have item 1 and 2, and item number 1 is special use permit case 23-17, and item number 2, special use permit case number 23-18.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. The reason they're expedited is because nobody's really complained about it, right? I mean, that's the way it goes, right? It's expedited only if there's no reason to have a public hearing. Everybody, the Planning and Zoning Commission, everybody that has heard it said it was okay.
Yeah.
Right?
You still have a
Right.
public.
Yeah, we still have a public hearing to go, but I mean, that's why it's expedited, right? Sorry, not a public hearing. It's not a consent line. It's an expedited.
So any, that's okay, so.
Well, I just like
I'll-
to,
Yeah.
well, on one of the items, did you open them both?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the items is, this is a solar power generation station. I just want to make sure that everybody understands this. It's 154 acres of solar power. I hope that we get to a point where we talk about how do we keep that within the state? Because, when we get solar power, solar generating plants out in the middle of the county, I like to think that we're sending California something other than their waste. But something like this it's to me large enough to ask, where is the power going? Where is it going? If it's going someplace to help solve a problem, that's fine. I mean, it's not that I have a problem with specifically that problem, but they're large enough. Are they connected to APS? Are they going to be connected to APS?
I think it's more for their personal use.
Is it personal use? Oh, then that's.
Mr. Chairman, I have, may I make a comment
Yeah.
on on the solar project? I attended the meeting for Yuma Valley Rod and Gun Club when this solar company did their presentation and this group. And Yuma Valley Rod and Gun requested that they make some access for the wildlife that lives out there and maybe some.
I think this is a different project.
It's a different-
You're
This is a
thinking the
different
one
one.
up, you're thinking the one up by Agua Caliente.
Oh, it had the same, okay.
This is
It
this
has
is
the same
different.
footprint, huh?
This is different.
Well-
This is different, yeah.
They also need to accommodate the animals, please.
Yeah,
The
they're
wildlife.
We're gonna fly over them. I'll open it up.
I thought.
I'll open
Okay.
it up to the public. I'll open
But this
up
is
the
where you
public
get to
hearing.
say it's for our own use. You know that.
Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion to approve both items.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 1, special use permit case number 23-17, and item number 2, special use permit case number 23-18. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Just a comment on whatever solar comes to Arizona, or at least in our county. We always say, oh, well, it's going to California. Well, when we get APS to buy it from them, then
We can talk about
we can talk about it. But in the meantime, that I think that should be our main concern. Moving on.
It's okay. I'm not gonna say anything.
Discussion with legislative issues. Alejandro?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it carefully enough. Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs Director for Yuma County. I'll start my update with session stats. We've had 1,580 bills have been introduced in the last 26 full days of the legislative session. As far as the December 2023 revenues, they came in below forecast. $75 million below the enacted budget revenue forecast according to the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. Losses occurred in the corporate and individual income tax categories and were partially offset by modest gains in sales tax. Year to date, through December, excluding urban revenue sharing and the one-time tax rebate, fiscal year 2024 general fund revenues are 8.5% below the prior year. Total fiscal year 2024 general funds revenues are $481 million below the enacted budget forecast. Moving on, 2 Democratic state representatives resigned last week. State Representative Dr. Amish Shah, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that last name right, resigned to run for U.S. Congress. Dr. Shah is running for the Democratic nomination to run in Congressional District 1 against Republican Congressman David Schweikart. Representative Lisa Sun also resigned last week. Sun faced the possibility of expulsion due to an ethics committee report that found her guilty of disorderly behavior. The committee found Sun responsible of using foul language and intimidation tactics during a June meeting at Tolleson's City Hall. Both seats will be filled by the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors in the coming weeks. Also, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors announced that Jevin Hodge was appointed to the Arizona House of Representatives, replacing former State Representative Athena Salmon. Hodge will serve Legislative District 8 through 2024. The position is up for election in November's general election. Also, the Arizona Association for Economic Development honored 4 lawmakers this week for their work on transportation, workforce development, healthcare, and infrastructure. I happened to attended that event reception, and the AAD honored Senator Ken Bennett, Senator Birch, Representative Michael Carvon of our Legislative District 25, and Representative Marcelino Quiñones. The Water Infrastructure Finance Authority, WIFA, met to discuss the roles and purposes of WIFA going forward as water projects are developed. At the meeting, members were presented with case studies and examples of water infrastructure procurement processes. Members discussed alternative delivery methods for soliciting and procuring large-scale water infrastructure projects. A key focus was the role of WIFA in the procurement process, and many members expressed the need for flexibility going forward when determining which specific parts of the process merit the use of WIFA resources. One legislative item I wanted to bring to your attention is today, both the Republican and Democrat side want to introduce a bill regarding legislative elections. And I'll read it to you. Republican lawmakers say they'll introduce a bill to move up the primary election deadline and make other changes to ensure Arizona doesn't run into a scenario of its votes for president not counting. But Governor Katie Hobbs says she'll veto the bill because it will also make unrelated previously vetoed changes. And then Democratic Representative Laura Tarek says she'll introduce the governor's version of a fix today. Whatever plan moves forward will need to get to Hobbs' desk by Friday, and it will need a 2/3 majority vote in both chambers of the legislature to become law immediately. Now, this is to change the timeline. They're looking into moving it the primary elections from August through to July, so that they can accommodate for elections departments to be able to do the count. Now, from what I spoke to our lobbyist, he says that they can still not meet the Friday deadline and do it retroactively. So they have a few days after Friday, if it comes to it, to actually pass legislation on elections this year. I hope I made myself clear enough. It just happened this morning. On the federal side, on January 14, Congress unveiled a new continuing resolution to extend federal appropriations. As resolution passed, as you probably know, voting a partial government shutdown and sending funding through early March. This extension maintains existing program funding temporarily, yet a long-term funding solution is needed. In the absence of a long-term solution, discussions will resume in the coming weeks in efforts to avoid a shutdown once again when funding expires March 1st and March 8th. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is warning of a critical $1 billion shortfall in the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children, jeopardizing critical nutrition assistance for vulnerable residents. This short will mean that states may need to create wait lists for new applicants and existing participants who are up for benefit renewals, and could have turned away as many as 2 million vulnerable county residents from this important support. NACO is advocating for complete funding of WIC in the 2024 budget to ensure uninterrupted access to the program. Also wanted to share with the board that the 2024 National Association of Counties Legislative Conference scheduled for February 10th through the 13th this year in Washington, D.C. The conference brings together nearly 2,000 elected and appointed county officials to focus on vital policy issues that impact counties and residents. Attendees have the opportunity to engage in policy and educational sessions, interact with federal officials, and participate in congressional briefings and meetings. This year, Supervisor Reyes and I will be in attendance. On the International and Border Affairs update, Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, joined by Republican Senators James Lankford and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, released a text of their agreement that would strengthen border security and immigration enforcement while authorizing more assistance to Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine. The agreement, or the bill, creates a new removal authority and moves the asylum process out of the courts, ends catch and release, and closes loopholes in parole, provides DHS increased higher flexibility, raises asylum screening standard, and streamlines initial asylum interviews, boosts funding for border communities, and other border law enforcement or immigration law enforcement items. It is unclear whether it has the support to pass the Senate, where it will need at least 60 votes to defeat a guaranteed filibuster. And if it were to reach the U.S. House, its prospects are not good either, since the Speaker has already stated that he's not in support of it. Something that I missed to point on the presentation there, Republicans in the House Homeland Security Committee released 2 articles of impeachment against the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. A vote by the House could come as early as next week, although it's unclear whether Republicans will have enough support to impeach the Secretary. Mayorkas would be the first cabinet official to be impeached since 1876, 150 years almost. That concludes my update to the board, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
Just a comment. That situation at the border has not improved. It's actually gotten worse, which is kind of difficult to actually understand, but it has gotten much worse. I mean, the lines are incredibly long. The wait times are incredibly long. They exceed 3 hours, 4 hours. I do not understand what we need to do, but we need to do something. If it's support, if it's something that, if there's anything we can do, we should know about it, because I mean, the biggest complaint I get, living near the border is that you cannot cross into Mexico anymore and be assured that you get back within a certain frame of time. People are just refusing to go, which I understand could be a safety issue. There's a lot of stuff that comes into play. But the answer I got, which I got an answer for a 3.5-hour wait, was that only the governor should know that you only visit Mexico. If you want to come back quickly, you should do it Sunday at 2 a.m. in the morning, which is, I guess, the time there will be any line. That was not a response I was expecting. I was expecting a more measured response, talking about staffing or needing to move assets one way or another. That is not the response people get. That is unconscionable. Those lines shouldn't be that long. And if they're long, we should know the reason so we can explain to our contingency why this is happening. I understand that there's some transition going on, But that doesn't justify those long lines. And the fact that they're only using 1 lane, 2 lanes, when there's availability of 5 or 6 lanes, what difference would it make if you have 16 lanes and you can only use 3 or 4? So the question's still out there, Alejandro, and if you get an answer for that, or if they want to talk to us, we're certainly open to any kind of discussion regarding any kind of trouble between the countries. That's all I'm gonna say.
Chairman Supervisor Reyes, I'm working with and through GYPA, Greater Yuma Port Authority, to make sure that we get an opportunity to discuss these items with the interim port director. Hopefully sometime this week we hear back and we get a time and date.
Thank you, because it needs to be answered somehow.
Mr. Chair, Tony and Alejandro, it's really, do we have any figures that show how much it's impacting economic development on both sides of the border? Because I know that's a big.
I don't know if you have numbers of the impact of economic development. I just know that, for example, in Mexicali, they closed 22, or some restaurants that complain that they have no customers because customers are staying away. In San Luis, the complaint is the same. It'd be tough to measure the economic impact, but you can actually see it by the wait times. If you check the wait times that their own application has, San Luis is always first or second in times that you wait, which is incredible to me. How can you keep that? You have the record and you keep expanding the record. Last time I checked, it was 150 minutes wait time, which to me means it's going to be 3-4 hours wait time. For a single trip to Mexico, that is unconscionable to me. But, it's their own app, which is not to be trusted, but at least it's trusted in terms of how it compares to other stations. I went to Mexicali once last week. I crossed in less than 10 minutes. I'm not saying that that's common. It may be or may not be. I don't do it that often, but I can tell you right now, I am concerned if I go to Mexico that I'm not going to be able to get back. And that's from someone that has been living on the border for 50-some years. I know. Don't go home unless you're the governor at 2 a.m. in the morning. I get it. Sunday.
No, I would say, why you're gonna be able to come back at a certain time, but
yeah. You're being playful, but
no, I understand.
When you're in line,
I totally understand.
It's really disappointing.
And to answer your question, Supervisor Pancrase, people basically they get up earlier. There's by 2 in the morning during the week. There's already a line to get across. So people that come and work, they still spend here, but they just get up earlier to get across. So they accommodate.
Are many of these people going into Calexico and going through Mexicali, Calexico, and then coming back, or through Alcodones?
That
I
tried to, yeah.
I tried that. It didn't work. I spent 2.5 hours in Alcodones.
Oh,
but
okay.
That's not to say that is. Look, if there's an issue with staffing, I'd like to know, because I like to. We all like to help. I really would like to help. We don't have any communication at all. Not from us anyway, not from me anyway. If the mayor of San Luis or anyone else is getting communication, we certainly aren't sharing it. But the point is the same. San Luis is probably the second, if not the first crossing in the state of Arizona of pedestrians, which in the morning, we own property on Main Street. People sleep in there because they can be certain they're going to be able to cross in the morning. So they sleep in the sidewalks, they sleep under any kind of shade. I know we're not in regular times. I understand that. I understand all the arguments that are being made at the national level. But at the local level, San Luis is not a number one border crossing, which means they don't really deal with the surges that we deal with right now. We're dealing with right now. They don't. They're just dealing with, quote, the normal number of people that are trying to cross. It's just that they've changed. They've changed the number of lines to cross. They've changed all those things. And it could be transition, but we still don't know much about it.
We're getting 16 lines.
Yeah, right.
Any other questions for Alejandro? Thank you, Alejandro. Current events.
Yeah, let me get them out here.
Thank you. Supervisor, no, just kidding.
A lot.
Go ahead.
Okay. I attended the 2024 annual legislative reception in Phoenix and met with all the legislators, or 29 of them that went. I attended the County Ag Water Coalition, and Jonathan, the steaks you cooked were amazing.
Thank you.
So it's the Agribusiness Water Commission as well. I met with some constituents concerning issues within my district. I attended the budget briefing. I went to GYEDC's luncheon on child care centers. 90% of a child's brain is developed by the age of 4. So parents need to make sure that they're working with their kids before they get to school. So anyway. I went to a Yuma Valley Rod and Gun meeting. They had ADEQ and Game and Fish and a solar project there. And like I was saying before with that solar project, I just want to make sure that they make accommodations for the animals, because this one is on private land, so it's a little different. I went to the YMPO Audit Committee meeting. I went to 2 CSA LPCs, which is Legislative Policy Committee meetings. I attended the Planning and Zoning hearing for the people who aren't following the rules. I went with a constituent who had already fixed his, but he wasn't sure about what was going to happen when he went, so I went with him. I attended a Zoom meeting on Arizona Defense Sites, unused ordinances or ordinance that haven't been exploded, and it was so boring. I only made it through half that meeting. So anyway, I went to the Yuma County Superintendent's Roundtable and other things, but those are the main ones.
Thank you.
A lot of what she said. And
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
And more.
Thank you. Supervisor Simmons.
CSA meeting, the agribusiness meeting, dinner that they had.
What about my steaks?
Oh, they were great.
Okay.
Wife loved the chicken. Wife loved the chicken too.
All right.
Budget briefing, had a meeting with DDS over some issues out in the foothills. The Veterans Home Dedication, Election Advisory Board, attending a meeting with the Secretary of State, and just numerous other meetings with constituents.
But you attended the executive, the board meeting of the Western Arizona Council of Governments, had a vision group meeting, Great Yuma Port Authority meeting, Elevate, which is the whole point. You know what I'm talking about, the Elevate meeting. I also attended I can't, it's getting to a point I don't even understand my own writing, but we're going to DC on the 10th and 11th and 12th and 13th, so I'll carry that message if I can for you guys.
From the long lines?
Oh, the long lines.
Okay.
It is the most disappointing issue that I've had in my political life, and I've had a long political life. But those are some of the meetings I attended to. And I do want to send a shout out for Omar Duron, who was just chosen the superintendent of schools for Summington School District. He used to be in San Luis. Great guy. Just want to say congratulations to him.
Yes. I also attended the CSA reception and also the CSA meeting on
Yeah, the meeting
Thursday.
too.
Lots of information there, and I also attended the YMPO.
We forgot that the Adrian Fontes.
Oh, the
Secretary of State meeting here. Yeah, I
Secretary of
forgot.
State also, yes. And I didn't try your steaks, but I know they're
You didn't?
pretty good. So
You didn't even go, did you? No. No.
I saw you picture you standing on some sort of roof out there, so you live dangerously.
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman. A special GYEDC board meeting, quarterly managers lunch in San Luis, library director search committee meeting, and the library director interviews are this Friday. YSIPTA, which is Yuma County Intergovernmental Transportation Authority meeting, and for better or for worse, I was named chair of the board at that meeting. Budget briefings with supervisors, had a meeting with Somerton Mayor Anaya, attended the ACMA Winter Conference, that's the Arizona City County Management Association Conference in Sedona, and I was named president at the conference of the organization, excuse me, and spent a week of PTO with family up in Minnesota, and thank you, Josh, for keeping an eye on things while I was away.
Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Mr. Chair, I forgot one. Jonathan and I both went to the Redondo Days, and he did the prayer, and it's for the Historical Society, and it looks like the city's, if we can do it, the city's going to get.
And the tile that I took off this building
Oh, yeah, the tile.
20 years ago,
There you go, say it again.
I donated back to the Historical Society and put on their new bathroom at no charge.
Yeah, it was
And
good.
do you, by any chance,
They
are you
raised a
guys
lot of
ready
good
with
funds.
the budget timeline? You know, when the hearings are going to be, that kind of stuff?
We have
Down here?
That's what I was putting in front of me, but I can make sure.
Just make sure I get one.
Okay.
I wanna check.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the work session. The board will discuss and may take action on the following items as appropriate. Item number 1, work session to review the current American Rescue Plan Act funding use, allocations, and estimated balances, as well as provide possible guidance and direction regarding additional allocations of unencumbered funds or changes to existing allocations as allowed by the most recent guidance from the U.S. Treasury. Gil?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. Gil Villegas, Chief Financial Officer, with Diana Belos.
Other side by Jonathan.
Go ahead.
Diana Belos, Community Planning Management. We're here to facilitate this work session this morning. This is a continuation of the update that we did back in January 17. So I thought it was important for us to start with some important highlights that we had from the prior presentation that we did to the board. And of course, the most important, and we spent some time, is the definition of obligation. Like I said at the beginning, we thought it was just with board approval. Now obligation, it means that we have to have a contract, possible an invoice. These are the lists of the eligible projects that we have. The first 4 in green are the ones that were from the original internal rule. We have added 3 more, and we discussed those back in January. We have utilized the public sector lost revenue. $10 million was a standard allocation for us. We took advantage of that. And we did some of the public health cases. We haven't done anything for the premium to essential workers. And of course, everybody knows we spent a lot of time with infrastructure, broadband, and some sewer and water projects that we have. Added to the allowable list, or eligible list, we have the building of critical infrastructure, community development, Title I, and the emergency relief. It is also important for us to remember that there are some ineligible categories that we need to keep in mind. Since the beginning, we couldn't make any money, any deposits to the pension fund. We could not offset a net reduction in revenue taxes, and not paying for debt. We couldn't put the money set aside for a rainy day fund, contingency. It is also important for us to remember the deadline that we have. The most important deadline coming up, December 31st, 2024, where we need to obligate the remaining funds that we have, and everything has to be spent by December 2026. Bottom line, the estimates that we provided back then continue to be the same. There is eligible projects. We have 2 pots of money per se. Eligible projects, we have around $6 million that have not been allocated. And for the revenue lost, out of the $10 million, we still have 7.8, almost $8 million that they're more flexible, that we can use, and they need to be also allocated. So this is where we stand right now. I believe we have put together a list of shovel-ready, you call them, projects for the board's consideration. We can display that if it's so wanted. But this is what we're looking for. We want to hear from the board, any directions, any guidance, so we can start preparing and see and make sure that we meet the deadlines that are coming up on us.
Chairman, you know, I was a little intrigued by the fact that we can use monies on CDBG projects or home projects. Now, home projects are housing projects. I really believe that we were going to use the remaining funds to do the Orange Grove, Rancho Mesa Verde. I believe that before I found out that it may not be available already for the time. So what I'd like to do is, if possible, come up with a B list of projects that we can actually activate in case we can't get to that situation. The worst thing the worst thing in my book we could do is just simply send the money back. It would be used someplace else. So I'm interested in trying to find out if there is an emergency shelter that has been spoken about a lot in South County and San Luis specifically, a house where domestic violence people or people who need emergency shelter can go to. So I've inquired a little bit about that. I think it's a project that can be shovel ready because it's just a house. I mean, it can be built at any time by anyone at any time. So I just want to suggest that we come up with a sort of a B list of items that we can sort of plug in. I don't know how to do that yet because I see that the eligible projects, I misread that. I misread emergency natural disasters with emergency housing, which is a different thing. So, but I still believe that if you have a home project, which is a housing project, that you can actually fit some of these projects in there and we get them done instead of, waiting for a process. CDBG actually comes in a bunch of projects that basically add up to, I think it's 500,000 divided between, is it 500,000 the county alone or is it 500,000 between the county and Weldon? Not
alone.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, it's 500,000 for
CDBG.
for
For the
regional
county.
account, just for the county.
Right. But you see, what?
It's estimated.
Okay, what are you saying when you say CDBG projects are available? That they have to meet CDB guidelines or that they have to meet home guidelines?
They have to meet CDBG guidelines, yes.
So they have to go through a process? Is that what it boils down to? Because I know that the process that CDBG follows ends in May or someplace in June because it needs to be sent in for funding. It needs to be sent into the state. Are these going to follow that procedure that they have to be sent into the state so they have to be approved so that they can be done before or committed to, in terms of contracts, before the deadline?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, they don't have to go through that same process of submitting them to WACOG, but they do have to meet the same requirements. We do have to ask that the nonprofit be vetted and that they have a SAM.gov registration, they have their bylaws and everything's in place. They have to meet those same guidelines, but they don't have to go through that same process.
Good, because I was suggesting to the chairman of that particular group to get in touch with the county administration. I mean, in this case, the grant administration, and see what the process they would have to do. Because it's a housing project, it falls right into what I consider to be sort of my expertise. But this is a process that I'm not familiar with, and it's a process that I was thinking, okay, once it happens, if it happens to be in that group, then I need to sort of like back off a little bit from it. I may be having a potential conflict of interest as some of it happens in a subdivision of comité. I wanted to make sure that I knew enough before it becomes a project that it can become a project. I was again under the impression that emergency housing was part of our goal, but I now see that it's emergency natural disaster, which then again goes back to whether we can assign some funds from that remaining fund to the Public Works Department so they can fix natural disasters as they happen. The problem is we have to have a contract with somebody to do it. I'm not sure. Is it that we can use it to pay for most county government service? Would it fit on that particular part of mine?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, the natural disasters, you would have to have declared a natural disaster.
Ahead of time.
Ahead of time.
I think anytime it rains is a natural disaster.
Mr. Chair, Tony and Diana, when we're talking about a domestic violence safe house, are we talking maybe working through Catholic Community Services, and the safe house would already be in one of those nonprofits that already has bylaws and rules and all that kind of stuff. Is that what we're talking about?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Pankowski, this particular one that we're talking about, the nonprofit did submit a letter to us, to the board, asking if they could apply for the ARPA funds. They are a 501c3 from San Luis, Arizona.
So it's
They are
separate?
not,
Okay.
it's similar, but they are not with Catholic Community Services.
Okay.
But it is
Good.
similar.
Any of that would be.
And I do believe
helpful.
that that particular project does qualify with the Title I. It's still for the limited clientele it would fall under.
And does it have to meet requirements like 4 bedrooms, 3 bath? Are there things like that that have to be, or is it? So anyway, never mind, that's getting into the weeds. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, so are we today, we kind of like looking into, okay, what we had and what we think should be some alternative projects? Is that what you're looking for?
They're gonna present to us.
Are you gonna present some alternative projects?
Mr. Chairman and Supervisor Days, if it's all right with you all, we do have a spreadsheet that we put together of several ready projects.
Before you remove, that eligible projects and that, if that money, the revenue loss we have right now, it's in the budget. And we can use that for pretty much. And so, yeah. go ahead.
All the funds are available to us right now. There was an upfront money that we keep in our funds.
But the eligible projects fund can be moved to the revenue loss.
No, Mr. Chairman, again, it's a matter of compliance.
Okay.
So
So
that's
it just-
that's the
it
reason
can't
why
be
we have to keep the separation. There might be a number of revenue loss projects, a number of eligible projects that can meet the revenue loss as well. But revenue loss by itself has held more requirements, more compliance, and this is the list that we need to be careful with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the old list, we had a PM10 mitigation project that would never got through. Is that now eligible, or is it still kind of iffy?
I'm sorry.
No, so, in the old list, we had a PM10 mitigation project that it says to be I guess to be determined. Is the determination that we have, the last determination changed that at all?
That PM10 is eligible under revenue loss. If you would want to fund a project for PM10, that is something that
PM10
revenue loss.
mitigation was a way of getting some of those dirt streets to be paved or to be treated so that it doesn't raise as much dust. I thought Supervisor Pankowski and I thought that we may be able to use some of that fund to be able to do some of those streets that technically the county cannot do because because of rules that says if it was before 1970. I mean, we've done a lot of roads now that weren't in that particular segment, but those were kind of like projects that I felt that we could put into that pot that says, okay, if we're not able to look at the revenues lost or something, the revenue loss project, we may be able to put some of those projects in that so that we can actually commit those funds and get that done by 2026, which is, I think, we have to get them done in a year.
Yes, we have
we
to
have to
obligate
commit.
by 2024. Mr. Chairman.
But it's the obligation of county funds. I mean, there's two pockets of funds. One is I think one was county loss. Yeah, and the other one was sort of eligible.
Revenue loss.
One was revenue, the other was eligible. So if we commit to doing some of those improvements, we need to contract out the improvements, or can it be done by the county itself?
They could be done by the county themselves. We just have to make sure that the money is obligated by December 31st of 2024.
Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, under the revenue loss, those monies can be used for services that general fund usually pays for it. So if it is something, a service that we're providing, something that we're doing, then yes, we can use that revenue loss fund.
And
I think
Mr.
I
Chairman,
understand a little bit.
just a point of maybe of clarification. One of the priorities that the board had expressed for ARPA funds was the Orange Grove Rancho Mesa Verde project. And so one school of thought would be using the revenue replacement funds, the revenue loss funds, to offset some general fund expenses, not specifically tied to any project, just to free up some general fund money to pay for that Orange Grove project.
Mhm.
And that helps us with the timeline constraints that the project currently has. So that roughly $8 million could very well go to Orange Grove if the board so directs. Then we're only worrying about those
The
eligible
6.
projects.
Mhm.
Exactly.
No problem with that.
What's this? Okay.
What needs to be done at Orange Grove?
Give them the spreadsheet.
Sure.
I'm just gonna go up and give you the spreadsheet, the same one.
Thank
that's
you.
up there.
We're waiting for USDA to finish the application and that thanks for the funding.
So do we get reimbursed or?
Yeah, so they'll send that money.
Okay.
Mhm. But the application won't be ready till next year, so.
Okay.
That's what I'm concerned with. I think that if we can expense it out to the county and they don't use it, it would be okay.
Yeah.
But we have to commit the funds before the end of this.
But will be reimbursed by USDA?
I don't
It'll
know. I
be,
think
it'll
it's
be, it'll be.
Anyway, this is like
Okay.
like a discussion that.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is the list of projects or, that we put together. Like Diana mentioned, it could be shovel-ready, and I think we can do contracts, and we can go ahead and move on those projects. So we're looking direction from the board, if the board will be interested in any of these projects, or shall we go back and start another list?
Yeah, I'm interested in Highway 95 mill and fill.
How many of these can,
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Pancrazi, I'm thinking, you're thinking what's eligible category, and surface transportation, public health, negative economic impacts, all those projects are eligible category. The water and sewer broadband, the broadband wireless in the Orange Grove is also eligible category.
for the loss or for the other?
The revenue
unused?
loss is on the bottom. The
Got
revenue
it.
loss
Okay,
is-
there we go.
yes.
Okay, thank you. I see them now. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, again, I think this is one of those situations where if you have some projects in your district, you like to push for them. I mean, I've got no problem with saying that. So for the recommended revenue loss, I mean, if we can move any of these items into the recommended,
Mm-hmm.
put them like in a B alternative. If we can't do anything with Orange Grove directly, we may be able to transfer the funds into the general funds as a payroll expense or as a loss. I just want to see if there's a possibility to include those projects, especially the mill, the county 95 mill, and what do you call it?
Because ahí están they're from the 6 million, we can use that from the 6 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Those, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Those are eligible projects,
You don't need to.
the
do
ones you have right now listed.
Well, then what do you want us to do?
So right now, what we can do, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, right now, Veronica's on the keyboard right now. We can start talking about where you would like to allocate that money. You
What I'm
can
doing.
start putting it.
But that's what I'm doing. I just wanted to.
But you're not recommending yourself.
I am
from the
recommending.
loss, No, pero from the revenue loss, not
Oh,
from the.
wait, from the revenue loss, I'd like to include that project of emergency shelter in San Luis.
Okay, so
Okay,
so if you
don't
scroll
have it
down
in
a
there,
little
so-
bit, that'll.
For what shelter?
Yeah, the emergency shelter, which is a domestic violence shelter,
Okay, so there's
Title I.
there's the emergency shelter for San Luis. We still have to make sure that that nonprofit is vetted properly, but that project itself,
Title
it meets the Title I. We
I.
would.
So if we set aside $500,000, you would set aside $500,000 for that specific project. If it's less, we can always move it back. Okay, I like you to do that. I don't know about the rest of the board,
Anything that would help domestic violence.
appreciate it. I mean, they've been looking for that project for years.
Yes, they have.
can't
And
find
if
the
we
funds.
can do that, yeah, it would help.
Okay? And
What about offsetting some of our U of A stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was saying too, on
that
top of
building.
that.
It has a tremendous impact on
It does.
all the youth of every community in Yuma.
It does. there's over 1,000 kids in there.
Yeah.
What's between funny?
Well,
It's between
if you
33
do the
and 35.
one,
Is it just a
the
road
Highway
that isn't
95
paid? Is it just a
Memphis,
road that isn't paid?
Yes.
and then U of A extension
Yeah, it's
with
U
the
of A
eligible,
extension. Mm-hmm.
not all of it, but part of it, yeah. I mean, all of the,
Rich, that's.
It'd be nice to pay for half that building.
put, you gonna put the one point million? The Highway 95? The eligible.
And the U of A is 4 million under eligible category.
Almost taking it.
And Diana, do you have any timeline concerns in terms of the U of A extension? Road projects are great because you can get them done nice and quickly.
I'd like to try to get that County 6, that 2-mile stretch there.
Yeah, I would have a concern for the U of A extension. Is that gonna have a contract by December 31st of 2024?
I don't think so. It's still in the planning stage.
Oh,
So that's why I said you need to come up with a plan B that of projects that are sort of shovel ready that you could do. If it's a county project, I mean, we can actually contract or we can actually go out and get it done before December 26th because we can commit the funds before this end of this year. But if you have a project like the health department, which is still in the planning, or the U of A extension, which is still on the planning, or the Orange Grove area, which is still on the planning, if you can't commit, if it's not a county project, you can't commit the funds. You can only transfer them. Yeah, you put it in the revenue loss and you wait it out. But it's gonna have to come out of the general fund once you put it in the revenue loss column. So putting $8 million or whatever it is, 7,987,000, putting those 7 million into the general fund will put him, make him available to us. But I mean, when we talk about the U of A, it's the same issue. I mean, it would have to be put into general fund to be used for that later on. But we couldn't commit them before December 20-something. We need to find, that could be a plan B type of situation where if we're ready to commit, we could do it. But because I'd love to do something with half the money coming from the federal government. I mean, I'd love to do it. Are we ready to do it? We may not be. So we need to be with the plan B. And I think what the plan B should be, move it into the recommended revenue loss, move some of those projects, list those projects and have them ready. And if they're not ready, just roll over the money into the revenue fund and use them when you can, when you're ready to use them.
Well, the emergency management new trailer water and septic connect, that's a ready project right now. It could be done tomorrow, right?
Which one?
Emergency management, new trailer.
Revenue, it goes under revenue loss though, so we're
I
okay.
thought on that one, we were gonna move the trailer.
We are, and that's what
Okay.
it is. And we can use ARPA funds for it, correct? Revenue loss, ARPA funds. Okay.
Yeah, it goes under revenue loss because they're only offices for that trailer, yes.
Yeah, I want to see that done too.
Just a reminder that everything we're putting in for revenue loss, that's taken away from the Orange Grove project. Because
Yeah.
It
so
is?
it's-
So, right, I just wanted to clarify, it sounded like the original direction of the board, and I may be wrong, was to move that $8 million into the general fund to free up some funds for Orange Grove.
Yes.
You can, of course, parcel it differently, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, I would, yes.
And Mr. Chairman and supervisors, we can also add projects to this list. It's not just all these projects. These are the projects that all the departments have that are shovel ready right now, but we can also add to it.
Well, the U of A isn't shovel ready.
I think that we need to focus on the fact that anything we do at the county level is under our control. Everything else is not under our control. And we need to go through a process. That's why I said, what we have, if we want to keep it for the Orange Grove area, we need to move the $7,987,000 into a BOS recommended revenue loss that we can prove before the end of this year. The other stuff, the eligible category, I think that those are the ones we need to sort of fill in, kind of fill in that $6 million with projects that are maybe more shovel ready than others, which is why I was trying to say, look, let's focus on the BOS recommended eligible category, because I think that we have decided to leave as much money as we can for the Orange Grove project. So when the Orange Grove project's ready, the $8 million will be there. We all
Got it. Okay.
we all agree, okay?
Sounds good.
So we need
I
to
can
fill
do
in the
that.
other one, the other $6 million. So if,
So if we'll remove that, both of them from the revenue loss. And then if we do County 6th Street.
Between 33 and 35.
35.
Highway 95, 22nd to 17th.
Yeah. And obviously the 4 million from the U of A will be removed because it won't be ready, yeah.
So the $1.5 million for the Highway 95 million fill will be included in that list. The $500,000 for the emergency shelter, I'd like to have it included on that list. I don't know if it's gonna cost that much.
Which one?
The emergency shelter.
Emergency shelter. Now, how much would that?
$500,000.
Yes, it's already there.
Yeah, it's already there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
So it's already there.
Good. So what do we have left? 300,000?
3 million. No,
3
we
million?
got 2.7.
I'd like to see restrooms out in Tacna.
What is that HVAC project
What is it? Yeah.
for the, wow.
For the what?
Mr. Chairman, that HVAC project is for a few of the facilities, have a couple of projects out in public. I guess it's, I can just call Tiffany up here so she can
not
explain
one
to
single
you.
project, it's a replace. And I think it's a good idea to replace those HVAC within something new.
Good morning, Chairman Porches, members of the board, Tiffany Anderson, Facilities Management Director. That HVAC project line item includes duct cleaning for several of our buildings to improve the indoor air quality, as well as preventative maintenance projects at our central plants and HVAC equipment replacement at several facilities.
So it's a mix.
Like which facilities?
Not our temporary ones, right?
The duct cleaning would be at Juvenile Justice and the Justice Center. The preventative projects are for all of the central plants at our 4 buildings. And then the HVAC equipment replacement is for the Department of Development Services and Engineering, which are experiencing failures. Engineering costs for HVAC replacements at Juvenile Justice Center, and replacing a variety of splits and mini split systems at the Justice Center and the Health Department.
And do you got number for that amounts?
You got separation?
Anything with the ACs, cleaning, not the cleaning part or the service or
The
the materials, I mean, the units.
Replacement cost.
Just for the replacements, I didn't break that out in my notes, but I have all my budget requests, so the information's in my packet.
Give us a round number we can use, like $1 million, $1.5 million, $1.3 million, to replace all the bags with new air conditioning systems, which are highly efficient compared to the ones we had for 10
It would
years.
be close to $1 million.
Okay, 1 million, all right.
1 million, put in 1 million.
You're lucky, thank you.
Thank
Just
you,
the
sir.
cleaning part, we can do the cleaning part.
Do we, it's demolition for that, buildings over here?
Camarena building?
Is that already in our budget? Did we have the money for that, or how is that?
Can we use it, but
Can we use the demolition?
For that?
Didn't we have a preliminary estimate for that demo that was provided? Do we know what that was? I would like to get rid of those buildings.
I'd like to find out what the PM10 mitigation project was.
I believe it was 160,000, give or take.
That is the city. What was it, Scott, you should know this. How much was that PMT mitigation project? Do you remember?
Getting rid of that building.
I don't. Frank, do you remember
Putting it
the?
into a parking lot, just doing the mill? Just doing the milling?
Roads on
Probably-
Avenue
Well, they
B
said
and-
160, so maybe another, maybe 300 grand? Yeah.
I
Well, a lot of the millings we can do
Yeah.
in-house.
Yeah.
Can we do? Mhm.
All right.
We'd like to
We
consider
can get
doing
away
away
with it.
with
It's the same
the
issue.
Camarena building
Can we use
and turning it into a parking lot.
Mr. Chairman,
the
we
eligible?
can do that with revenue loss. We could do the demos
That's
with
right.
revenue loss.
Okay. So what,
Or we can claim that we had too much rain. buildings are.
So that's
They
right.
can declare an emergency and change everything. It's an emergency every time it rains. Oh, those culverts, who came up with that list of culverts? Underfunded, unfunded, low-flow culvert crossings? Because I think that as more rain gathers up, we probably need to start taking care of that. And that's probably not related to any one
That would
particular
be a
district
lot
at
of
all. It's
areas
just
around.
kind of rural. So what are we talking about?
Chairman Porches, Supervisor Reyes, that actually, it's actually misstated. It's underfunded low-flow crossings. If you recall, the Board of Supervisors recently awarded a contract to reconstruct 5 low-flow crossings out in East County. We only did 5 because that was the only the budget we had. However, there's a total of 10 low-flow crossings in that area, and so this would be phase 2 of that project. We would complete the final 5 crossings.
Maybe I should ask you differently. We got, what was it, $1 million at the end? Didn't you have like a running cost, estimation? 1.7. So if we said, okay, we're gonna use $1 million on low-flow culvert crossings on the east side to sort of help, do 3 maybe. Not do the 5, but do 3. Because what we're doing right now is trying to spread that money around into projects and make it fit what we have remaining. With projects that can be committed to, can we commit 3? Can that be committed to before the end of December 20? Can you actually have them ready?
If all we get is be able to fund 3, then we can do 3 low-flow crossings.
So I guess following that same kind of questioning, can other funds be committed before they use? Like, for example, if we wanted to do design on the U of A extension, and borrow, and save us some money, can we simply say we'll have $500,000 assigned for design work for the U of A so that it helps lower the cost at the end? That we can commit to, because we can bring in the people that, we can actually pay people that are
And
actually
get that
doing
done
this.
before, yeah.
Architecturals and everything.
Architectural stuff like that.
Design.
The initial part, what we can commit, because a building isn't just about the cost of doing the building, otherwise we wouldn't be approving
Site survey,
$600,000.
et cetera.
Yeah, so if we do a lot of planning and we get this fund to pay for it, we'll have projects ready to go whenever we need them. The plans ready to go, which will save us some funds eventually, because I think we're avoiding committing funds to projects that we can commit to, but in reality, we don't need to commit the whole amount of money to do the buildings. We can only commit the planning, the engineering, the design work. We can commit that before the end of December, which if we set aside $1 million or 900 or whatever it is that we have left, we could commit that to design work, to engineering work, to prep work. We can commit that and be ready to commit it before December 25th, 25th. How would that work? Would that work?
I understand that U of A extension is already under contract, correct?
Did we pay for it already?
No.
It's in progress, right? So
That's what I'm talking about. We do have the funds. And if
just
you
to
put it,
clarify, sorry.
well,
Dave, did we buy it already?
Just to clarify, yeah, so you approved what's called a master service agreement for the design and construction. It's a design build contract, so there's one agreement. So we are in process of designing, which will be complete this calendar year. And then when we have a proposal presented to the board for approval for the construction phase, that's an amendment to the existing contract. So you're already under contract for the whole project. You just don't have that amendment for the dollar.
Can that be split up? Can that be split up between look, we already pay for it, which means that we can always say, well, we pay from the ARPA funds. Can that be done? Can any of the projects that we have in front of us, like the health department project or something, be helped by some funds at the design phase? Or are we doing all design and build? Are we doing all design and build? Every project?
The health department currently is also under a similar design build contract. However, if you wanted to consider there's a portion of it, the warehouse portion, that could be separated out, re-released as a separate project, and it could be accomplished in the timeline.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for projects that can be set aside, that can be paid with these funds, actually pay forward these funds and save us in the general fund, because it is all about spending this money with projects that are ready or that could be ready to go before December 26th. If that looks doable?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, yeah, the health storage, the warehouse, that would be under the eligible category as well.
Good. So why don't we set aside some funds for that? I mean, if we can do U
$3 million
of A. That's a
project,
$2
the
million
warehouse.
project? Damn, man. Pues sí, pero bien tapados todos.
Approximately $2 million for the building.
We asked for them to cut it down.
4.
Dime, por esa madre, yo tengo que buscarle dónde meterlo.
4 for the health department?
It's the pleasure of the board to put the rest of the money, the 1.7, to the health warehouse, or are we putting something on the low flow crossing phase as well?
We were talking about design.
We're talking about design and engineering
Yeah.
first. So whatever projects we didn't have in design and engineering, I thought we could pay with this fund. You know, with the funds that are on. And remember, we removed the $7.9 million and put it in the general fund already. But they're supposed to be set aside for this project whenever that project numbers come in. This was to help alleviate that issue.
So I just want to make, you know, so you can be aware. I think last time we gave direction, it was to come back with the amount of money for the projects that we had, and that was U of A and the health department. So I just don't want to commit. We shouldn't be committing money to any of the buildings. Design is fine. If we can pay for the designs, that's okay. But maybe that, but not to any of the buildings, because last recommendation, we gave direction to bring back and see what amount was going to be final for the buildings. Is that so? Because you guys keep repeating, you know, for this or for that. So I think we gotta understand it's design, nothing for building. We're not gonna be building until those numbers come back. So, but the designs is what we want, if it's possible.
Dave, is it possible to split them up or not?
So let's say we have 700. What was it? 1.7. Okay, we committed 1 million already to the HVAC. Okay, so
Million to HVAC, okay.
and what was can we pay for designs? Yes or no?
You better say no.
Yeah, it's just I mean
Just say yes or no.
Yeah, again, so we have that already, that's already under contract. I couldn't tell you exactly what composition, as you recall, we brought the proposal for.
Together as one
It was
bid.
approximately $2 million for the health department project. That was the full design, all the main building renovation and expansion, as well as the warehouse design, and as well as the contractors' pre-designed services. So I would have to go back and look at, if you wanted to know what piece of that was specific to the warehouse, I couldn't answer that right off the top of my head. Same time, we're also already under contract for design.
You keep mentioning the warehouse. I'm saying just design. For the whole
Design of the warehouse.
Design.
The whole
project.
But
The whole project is what's under contract for, right, the $2 million contract is the
How can we
design.
go to the design though when you don't know what your budget's gonna be for the building?
because that's how you determine the budget's going to be for the building.
But they're
Basically, by
working
doing
that
the
into-
design.
into-
So,
And then we go back and fix it.
well, what we need to tell them is, look, you have this much money to spend, and that's what you stay within. I mean, it's
Okay.
not you come back with a design that's gonna cost us $10 million more. It's that you need to design the building to this amount of money, not the opposite.
Well, and that I think that's the direction we gave. Well, let's put that on hold and let's go down the list again.
Wait.
We got 1.7
Are we
million.
doing Highway 95 million, Phil?
Yeah, that's already there.
That's 1,500.
1 million.
0.5
1,500,000,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Any other thing on the list there that?
We doing the county six?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're doing the covers, low flow. We're doing 3 of them or something.
Oh, the flows. Yeah, that's where we're gonna put.
That's where we were.
Yeah.
Yes,
The
Supervisor
flows,
Reyes.
another 1 million. Yeah.
Just for your information, we did add that because Public Works has been having issues, having to go out there and repair
Yeah,
the roads.
replace them.
And so, but that project is, I currently have that funded in fiscal year 27 to complete that project, so.
No, we do a lot of storms between now and 2027.
Yes, and so that was the urgency to try to get that completed.
Oh.
Now.
All right. So if we set aside $1 million for that, you could do maybe 2 or 3 of them, culvert, low flow culvert. If you can do the 5 by 2027, but you can commit $1.1 million to do something a little more faster.
Right.
Which means you go out to bid, you get this stuff done, you get the culverts done with $1 million and whatever. If it's 900,000, you spend 100. That kind of a thought process. Is that okay?
With $1 million, I think we could do about three crossings.
There you go. Or we can call it a natural disaster and have it come out of the natural disaster.
3 of them in the past.
So you have $722,000.
$1,000.
Why is the broadband wireless with $4 million in there? Where is it more than we need, or where would that go?
Mr. Chairman, the broadband wireless, the $6 million that the Governor Hobbs gave Yuma County, funded Yuma County, is only for a portion of that project. There's going to be a second phase to that project. It's not.
But we can't commit it though. Anyway, it's the second. We haven't done the first phase yet.
We don't have the much, yeah, timeline doesn't work.
Just the timeline doesn't work. It's not. I'm just trying to figure out where that would go. It's like the timeline for the Orange Grove Mesa Verde that we can delay it, but it's almost very unlikely that it would be ready by then to commit funds, especially with the slowness of USDA and the slowness of the.
Okay, guys, this is what I have written down. $1 million for HVAC, $1.5 million for Highway 95, 1.3 for County 6, and $1 million for culverts, which comes out to 4.8. Now, where does,
Well, the 500 for the bottom. For
And the $1 million for the high HVAC, which is AC repair, replacement.
the shelter, 500 for the shelter, sorry, that's where I'm missing it, okay.
So you have $722,000 to try to figure it out. And you move the 7.98 to the other side, which is the state, and knowing that what we're doing is just sort of putting it in the pot to be used for a project. So what else do we have?
We can fill some of these cheaper ones up here in the Tacna Park.
Yeah, but you got the big ticket items already.
Oh, I know, but I'm greedy.
Yeah, I know. We gotta.
But I mean, you've got
the
some
trailer. I
small.
like the trailer project. If we could do it before, if we can commit the funds and do it before the end of this year.
Orange Grove?
Yeah, the 600,000. Yeah, for the
No, for emergency management.
for emergency management.
Oh, for emergency management,
Moving
yeah.
their trailer, setting it up. I mean, it's not probably going to cost us about.
But is that already funded or?
We're on track. It's not funded, but the goal
We're on
is to
track
have
to have
that
it
this
ready.
fiscal year. I mean, and
So-
that's revenue loss fund, so.
Oh, that's a revenue. Well, but we said we're not going to move anything more into revenue. I mean, if we do that, then we'll be taking the money aside. So, is it an eligible project?
Well, I'd still like to see lighting or
Everything
bathrooms.
else it's surface transportation.
Mr. Chairman, supervisors, can I just remind you that next board meeting, we do have the CDBG regional account coming
up
and to rank as well.
What you're saying, we
and
may
the
be able to.
Tacna
Yeah.
restroom is also
Yeah. So if we
Oh,
wait
thank
until
you.
then,
That's
we may
good.
be able to
Okay.
allocate additional funds to whatever comes out of that project.
Chairman, members of the board, there's a lot of discussion about design on the buildings that we have, and I hate to bring it back. But we can put that money set aside in design until we get an amount, a solid amount, how much it's going to be, and see how much we can cover.
Okay. So what you want us to leave is the 722 sort of.
Design for the health and U of A, right?
But the design's already been allocated. I mean, I find that a little like going backwards.
No, but it'd be like adding money to what we have already. What we're gonna spend,
That's
so
fine.
it'll be, yeah.
It's not gonna be like what we already contracted for, because what we're looking for is something we can contract for.
And get
Now,
done.
this has already been contracted. We already set aside 2 million something to do that, which was,
We can use those contracts.
okay, if you can use those contracts, that's no problem for me. I mean, get the $700,000, put it into that pot.
Well, and
And if we don't have any CDBG projects that go beyond what we have allocated, then it's easy. What I would say is, wait until the CDBG projects come in. We may want to fund 2 or 3 of them as opposed to 1, and then do it that way. Not the 500,000, that's allocated as a separate, allocation. But the
or
other
we
one,
can, or we can,
maybe the food bank, it may be the Tadano
HVAC?
bathrooms and maybe some of those projects that.
Well, I was just looking at some of the low-cost ones.
Yeah.
To knock them out of the way, the dugouts and parking lights and.
I'm moving to Tadano.
Well, you know, these are estimates too, so.
You mentioned the food bank, and there's a problem over there with that county retention basin that's at the end. And we need to be able to tie those two together, and I do have a conflict of interest because I'm on the board there, but that is something that we approached the county with before.
Retention basin is not part of, it's
Well, the county has one there on the property,
on the property.
at the end of the property, but it's not sufficient, so the whole thing floods.
Oh, yes, it does.
And
Every
Mr.
time it
Chairman,
rains.
Supervisor Lyons, we've had conversations, Josh and I, with the city of Yuma about, I believe, them taking over that retention basin, and I don't want to prejudge it, but preliminary reaction was favorable to the city taking that over, so that could be off our plate. Is that a fair summary of?
So we'll leave those 7,
Would that alleviate this flooding?
the 772,000.
Wouldn't alleviate the flooding there, because that basin primarily takes in the drainage from 24th Street, which is a city street. For whatever reason, the city didn't annex the basin in, so that remains our responsibility. However, I think Frank's had some conversations with the food bank about a potential project to take some of their on-site water there.
Yeah, leave it there.
Every time it rains, you got no access for those vehicles.
Leave it there in case.
The supply vehicles that are coming in.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
see the
CDBG money.
721,000 there where we have it in design,
Yeah.
and if we need it, we can use it between
We
now
need it
and
for
then we'll
some- or
decide.
for something else that we
We can
don't
go
have.
back and reset that,
And then,
okay?
but because I know if we would have known, at least if I would have known when we got this money, that it was used or whatever new directions we got from the feds that we can only use it at a certain date or spend that money, I think we would have committed since the very first day to different things because we would have wanted to spend the whole money. But I still want to see that money for Orange Grove. We saw that it's gonna be I know we're waiting for the grants, but I think if we do 7 million just for Orange Grove, and let's use 300 for
Demo.
Camarena demolition.
Of that money.
And the emergency management why is it 600? Is that to buy a new one or to move? I mean, that's a lot of money.
It's both. It's to buy a new or pre-used one that's
Set
in
it
better
up.
condition than the current one, and locate it at Public Works and hook it up and all that, the site improvements.
Because the last communication we had, it was that for the connection, it was not gonna be that because there was already
There's already a
building.
septic out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the connections are there. I don't think I think the bulk of the cost is the newer trailer. And
Uh-huh.
last I heard it was 500, so I'm not
For
sure.
600 grand, we could get a really nice trailer.
Look, if it doesn't happen this year, it'll be 600,000. The way the inflationary system goes.
Fiscal
I
year.
think you better set up more money than less money. You can always
Mr.
put some in
Chairman,
there.
for that much money, why wouldn't we just build a permanent structure that wasn't a
Because a
trailer?
permanent structure will cost us $1 million.
No,
It will, by the time we finish. I mean, look at David. David will tell you when he ready. A permanent structure.
Supervisors, the bathroom is costing us $300,000.
And one bathroom.
Yeah, it's just.
It's
Which
crazy.
bathroom?
You have to-
The
yeah,
one
it's
out in
crazy. The new
Tacna.
buildings are crazy.
With septic.
You have to make him a
So
tower,
we'll do
baby.
that. So we'll do 600, we'll move them or get them out of the,
ridiculous.
but I would like to, now don't touch no,
The
don't
million.
give
Don't
them,
touch the
don't
$8
give them
million.
over 600. Put the rest at the demolition because we might use it.
In other words,
just
building
600.
design, you move it out,
Mr.
you put
Chairman.
$600,000 of the emergency management trailer, and then you have 120 to 21,000.
What about mill and fill, fencing, or anything else?
Anything that, so we can use it at least for that building for parking or something.
Yeah, court parking or sheriff parking.
Parking's a premium
Parking is a challenge here.
down there.
The PM10 issue.
And thank you, board, for your cooperation with this process.
Good as that.
Just a reminder that The feds did change the definitions back in December, and that's what really put us.
This was the commitment time. We need to commit the
Mr.
money.
Chairman and Supervisors, just to clarify, the traditional general fund expenses do have to have a definition to them when we do our reporting. I just want to be clear that we are going to be giving them definitions once you'll find where we're going to find that money to put it in. I just want to let you know that.
Okay, so if you don't find anything, you gotta come back right away so we can assign it to something else.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we'll keep you updated with the status of these projects and their funding as we go along, so there's no surprises.
Okay.
All right, I should do it. You know, there's an old saying, you quit when you're ahead, so you're ahead.
All right.
Keep changing things.
I know.
Thank you now.
No, thank you, that's it for me.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
All right.